If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so honored to have our local ecopreneur rock star, Stuart Woolf, who is the president and CEO of Woolf Farming and Processing, and also the managing partners of Harris Wolf California Almonds and Los Gatos Tomato Products. Stuart Woolf, welcome to Green is Good.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I don't think I've ever been called a rock star, but I guess that's a good thing.
Hey, listen, it's something to tell the kids at least, right?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
But, your company is, again, one of the great local brands here in the Central Valley of California. You're doing great things. You've been named Agribusiness of the Year and have a whole list of awards. It would take me the whole show to go through them. But why you're here, Stuart, is to talk about all the great things you're doing to lead the green revolution. And I just love your mission statement here. The simple notion of feeding more people with fewer resources is how you build your family business. That is amazing mission statement.
Well, thank you. It's something actually we're very, very proud of. My family started this business in '74, and we go back and look at those early budgets. What's really amazing to me is that we've more than doubled most of the yields that we were budgeting in 1974. Today, using on the same footprint of ground, using fewer resources, fewer labor hours, less water, and we've kind of doubled all of our production. So it's not unique just to our farm operation. A lot of the farmers throughout California have been able to do this, and it's really remarkable.
Well, we've read some great articles on you and on your family, farming and processing company, and one of the great relationships you have is with Walmart and how you're using solar and other renewable practices to help meet Walmart's goals of less packaging and of also using vendors that are totally, green in their DNA and with regards to sustainable practices. Why don't you tell us about some of the most recent projects that you've been involved with regards to your farming business and also Walmart?
Well, with Walmart, let me first tell you that we grow. For example, let's talk about processing tomatoes. We grow processing tomatoes in Fresno County.
Okay.
And we send them to our processing plant, Los Gatos Tomato Products. And so we sell bulk tomato paste to a whole host of customers that then in turn sell those retail products, the likes of a Heinz, to Walmart. And, through the years we've read a little bit about some of these larger companies that are interested in making their supply chain a bit more green or taking carbon out of it and what have you. And, being out here in the west side in a farming area that is short of water, we had plenty of land, we have plenty of sunshine. And, you think about it, we use the sunshine to produce tomatoes, onion, garlic, all these crops. And we figured, well, if we can't farm all the land, why don't we use some of that property to capture that sunlight to grow electricity or produce electricity.
Right.
And that kind of fits in also with some of these larger green trends, if you will, throughout the food business. And we just assumed this would better position us. It would give us a better profile for those companies like Walmart that certainly are looking to take carbon out of their food chain.
So explain like your new, your one of your more recent projects, your solar tracking system that you did with, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so about a year ago, we at Los Gatos, we built a single megawatt tracking solar system. This sits on about 6.5 acres. We spent about $6.5 million on it, but the project. Actually, we work with a company called SPG Solar that helped us line up the financing and what have you. So it wasn't a huge out-of-pocket expense for us, and it's able to generate about 25% of our requirements at our tomato processing plant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, please.
No, I want to go over that a little bit. First of all, SPG Solar, Tom Rooney, great company, been on our show before. He's doing great things. So explain this so we all understand this simply, Stuart. You didn't have to come out of pocket. SPG Solar found you the financing for this, and now you have a huge energy savings. Is this how it works?
Well, the way it basically works, you have a system that is in place that's going to generate, a megawatt of energy every year.
Sure.
In between various tax incentives, rebates from PG&E, you get renewable energy credits that one day you could market under, the governor's AB 32 legislation and all this. You layer all this stuff together, and we went to a bank that basically finance this thing over a 10-year period where on an annual basis we're paying for that project, and there's a slight savings to us. Now, if the cost of energy goes up, which I believe it likely will, then that savings grows over time. And so essentially the project is paying for itself.
And
then we enjoy the benefits of having this greener profile.
So it's a hedge against future potential rising energy costs, and it creates a great green profile and a continued green profile for Woolf Farming and Processing.
Yeah, one of the things, you just nailed it. One of the things that really swayed us was, as we look at energy costs in California and the growth of the state and all of these factors, we believe the cost of energy can only go up.
Gotcha.
And so this is a hedge. We've locked into what it will cost us to generate, energy out of this solar project. And the project was financed over a 10-year, but its useful life, they estimate to be over 25. So we'll enjoy these benefits for a long time to come.
And when you speak of the benefits, can you share some of the wow numbers with regards to the environmental benefits just from your system itself and from you taking this action on what you've created for the communities and the area around you?
Sure. Actually these projects, when you take them on, and the EPA actually has a schedule of what the benefits are from an environmental standpoint. And our project, the EPA suggests that we will, effectively running the solar project would offset about 37,000 tons of pollutants over a 25-year period. That's the equivalent of just less than about burning 4 million gallons of gasoline. It's the equivalent of over 7,700 acres of pine trees. When you lay it out over a 25-year period, they're pretty impressive offsets.
So it's a significant environmental benefit, and an environmental benefit for all of us to understand when you make this kind of investment.
Yes, absolutely. And lastly, I want to throw in there again, by virtue of putting this project in place, we develop these energy credits that ultimately they talk about the possibility of having an open exchange and market for energy credits. We think these will grow in value over time and may be marketable.
So Los Gatos Tomatoes Products is in a P&E service area. So why, what was the tipping point for your board, for you personally, for your family to go ahead and jump in with this kind of project? These aren't small dollars we're talking about for any company, big or small. Where did you guys, how did this all shake out in the boardroom or at family dinners?
Well, I can tell you we had a lot of discussion around our boardroom, and ultimately one of the driving factors for us, when you lay out all the economics and everything, the project does have a positive payback. We could easily have spent money on a new tomato harvester or some other thing with a quicker payback. But the other way we looked at this, we own a lot of farmland out in western Fresno County, and we couldn't farm it all. Because of water restrictions. And so a solar project requires no water. And so we were thinking, well, here we already have the asset of the land. What could we do on that land that wouldn't require water that could generate a return for us? This was another layer in our decision-making. Again, I mentioned, the governor has his AB 32 legislation, is looking at reducing the amount of carbon coming out of industries and what have you throughout California. We think this better positioned us in the long term if that legislation does come forward and have an impact.
Right.
Again, it required very little out-of-pocket capital for us. It was a kind of a self-funding project. And again, the basic investment fits with our mission of producing more food with fewer inputs and resources.
Right.
So, when we laid all this stuff out together with giving us that green profile, it was pretty compelling.
Well, Stuart, you mentioned earlier, too, I'd like to revisit, if you will, for just a second, the energy credits, which you said, I believe if I remember correctly, will become even more valuable in the future. So that's like an investment, like a savings bond sort of thing, or putting some money in a CD, if you will, to just break it down. The credits become even more valuable as energy in the future becomes even more expensive, correct?
No, that's correct. And ultimately, as I understand the legislation, is that, if you hope to expand or your current operations and you need to increase your carbon profile or what have you, you may have to go buy credits to offset, your usage or your, to offset whatever carbon you're producing. So
right.
I believe the state of California is going to continue to grow, and I believe we're going to continue to have economic activity and growth here. And so these credits over the course of time, if we're putting kind of a cap on how much carbon industry can emit, and they've got to buy these credits as offsets, they've got to grow in value, I would think.
All right. Would this become a tradable commodity to another business down the road, possibly?
Yes, that's what they're talking about.
Okay.
But we have other processing facilities. We're in the frozen vegetable business.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the almond processing business. And so these credits, we may use them internally in other parts of our operation, or we may very well be investing in, more solar installations in other parts of our operation. But this was our first step in it, and I can tell you, working with the folks at SPG, these guys built a project. It came in under budget. They built it faster than they had promised, and it's generating more power than what it was rated to do. I mean, we've been very, very pleased.
And we're big fans of Tom Rooney, so this is so great to hear the living proof of how this really works in the fields, in the real world. So we're so glad you shared with us the SPG solar connection. Also, now let's toggle and pivot over to the Walmart connection. Your name in different articles has been mentioned with Mike Duke, and Mike is doing great things at Walmart. Explain how this decision of yours and the greening and the further greening of both Woolf Farms and Los Gatos tomato products has helped you build a closer relationship with Walmart and their goals.
Well, I have to tell you, I don't have a direct relationship with Walmart. I sell to people
right.
That remanufacture, and virtually, as you well know, all of these guys
That's right.
See Walmart as an opportunity.
Right.
And our basic belief is, if we have a greener profile than other suppliers,
right.
It puts us in a better position as we move forward and hope to build our own markets and customer base. And I can tell you, I was just recently I was in Oak Brook, Illinois, at McDonald's headquarters, and I was struck that we were talking to those folks about the tomato crop in California and the unique nature of our vertically integrated farming company. And those folks asked me more questions about the solar project than our history of farming or food processing or what have you.
Isn't that
interesting? They just zeroed in on that thing. And again, I think they're interested in aligning themselves with people that are, quite frankly, making these kinds of decisions and investments.
And what we've learned along the way, what Mike and I have learned when we've talked to people who have created the next greatest widget or a sustainable or organic product, is that when Walmart, or as you point out, a McDonald's, makes a decision to support people like you that are making green and more sustainable products and decisions, it really moves the needle. It pushes the green revolution forward much faster.
Well, I would hope so. And we believe, if companies like McDonald's or Walmart really take a hard look at, say, Los Gatos and as a part of their supply chain, we think the solar project may be a hook. If we get them here to actually come to the ranch and see the operations, they'll find out we have one of the shortest hauls in the industry. We actually truck because our plant's in the middle of our fields of tomatoes, we have a smaller carbon footprint there. We're making fewer passes in the fields with our tractors, the way we've laid out our fields and the buried drip. And we've taken a number of steps, quite frankly, pursuing yield and reducing costs that ultimately all falls in line with their basic goal of taking carbon out of their supply chain.
Gotcha. Stuart, I know this is the solar project is one great step in the right direction, but I know, as you've pointed out, your family's mission statement and your business mission statement has really been intact for a while. So what other green things, I know you have many other green initiatives, share with our listeners and the fellow farmers out there and other ag people and also retailers and people that will be looking to buy your products. What other things are you doing to make your company more sustainable in its practices?
Well, we've done a lot of things, but some of just the basic things we've done. Fresno County by itself is the largest tomato producing region in the world, and we stuck a tomato plant in the middle of the tomato fields.
Wow.
So we're not trucking tomatoes all over the state, what have you.
So lower carbon footprint just from that.
Oh, it's huge, the amount of miles that we used to truck tomatoes from our farm. About 177 to 100 miles up towards, heading north to the canneries in Sacramento and Tracy and what have you. We no longer do that. Our average haul here on the ranch is about 5 miles. And so we really have taken a lot of truck miles off the roads. Out in the fields and here we've done things like use GPS and standardized our bed configurations. All that means is every year we can grow a crop on the same bed using the same drip systems without having to run tractors to disc everything up and lay the new furrows out and everything. We're just simply making fewer passes all over this ranch. My father years ago started investing in all kinds of distribution systems on the ranch so we could move water all over this property so we could properly rotate the crops and maintain the health of the soils. And this is how we're able to get, we keep pushing the envelope on yield with fewer inputs. It's fantastic.
How does it work in the ag world? Because you're at really, and no pun intended, the top of the food chain in terms of you're a massive success, Stuart, and your family's business has really grown tremendously over the years. Do you share best practices with other leaders in the ag industry, both here in the Central Valley and other parts of the United States and other parts of the world? Is that how this works?
Yeah, it's funny. When you're a farmer, it's common practice to share best practices, if you will.
Okay.
And these best practices that we've adopted from a lot of our neighbors. And vice versa. And so we do all get better together. But just one thing about California, it's something that we just take for granted here. How diverse and how productive this region is. But the rest of the world, they typically come to California to find out, how to do it better and more intensively, more efficiently, and what have you. We're not racing over to Europe or Africa or South America to figure out how to do it better. They're coming here. And, that's a product of having, the UC system here and its land grant mission of helping agriculture, in their research and development of better farming techniques. We've enjoyed the benefit of all of that here.
Gotcha.
And, I think we've done a good job, but I think all of my neighbors and friends in the valley are doing just as good a job. It's, we're not that unique.
Hey, we're down to the last 2 minutes. Do you have, we have a lot of entrepreneurs or budding entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in waiting or people want to reinvent themselves. Can you share some pearls of wisdom of your experience of being a CEO and now a green entrepreneur as to, how to a lot of people want to be the next Stuart Woolf. Do you have some pearls you want to share with our listeners out there as we wrap up the show?
Now, I would just tell them to sort out and think about what the possible opportunities are going forward. And for us, we look at like 50 years and realize we've got to more than double the food production throughout the world to feed the world. And we think California is well positioned, and so we think there's great opportunities here if you can hunker down, get more efficient. People are always going to eat, and there's going to be more of them. So I'm very optimistic. I think agriculture is a great place for a young person to come and stake a claim. Unlimited demand going forward.
And with regards to agriculture, where it intersects also with the green revolution, do you feel very hopeful that there'll be more entrepreneurs like you that get involved with solar and other great kinds of technology and make their companies greener and better?
Absolutely. It's happening now, and I think there's plenty of opportunities there. And, I'm very excited about the future.
Well, Stuart, we are so thankful for your time and honored that you came on today. Green is Good. For our listeners out there that want to learn more about what Stuart's doing and his great family business is doing, you could go to www.woolffarming.com, WOOLFFARMING.com. Stuart Woolf, you are really a visionary ecopreneur and truly living proof that green is good.
Thank you for the kind words.